how to increase your revenue streams. Tiffani D'andria is going to be talking to us about how to use real estate to build wealth and revitalize the community. Hey, this is Raina Campbell, your Chief Dream Driver, and welcome to the No Parking Podcast, where through conversations and discussions with creatives like yourself, we'll find interesting approaches to help you take your dreams out of park, put them in drive, and ride towards success. Hey, Dream Drivers. Welcome to episode 177 of the Dreams and Drive podcast. Today's guest is Tiffani D'andria, who is the founder of Encourage Millions, a real estate education investment firm. And so here's a little bit more about Tiffani. After growing up in an economically depressed area in a single-parent home, Tiffani gained a passion for leading others to home ownership and generational wealth. Through her popular course, Flip Your Block Academy, Tiffani hones in on her skills learned in corporate America to help individuals learn how to invest in real estate with low overhead costs. She really takes the time to be transparent about her real estate journey and all the ups and downs, the challenges, and the lessons she's learned along the way. So here are some things that we touch on in this episode that I think you guys really find interesting. We talk about how she launched Encourage Millions, why it's so important that you trust your instincts. We talk about how Tiffani grew her business through Instagram, the benefits of doing a SWOT analysis on your life. And if you don't know what SWOT means, it's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. We talk about alternative real estate investing opportunities, business challenges she's faced, and why it's so important for her to leave a legacy. And for me personally, I really love this episode because I learned so much. You're going to hear me asking Tiffani a lot of questions because I genuinely just wanted to learn about this field and learn about all these alternative ways that we can increase our revenue and build varying revenue streams. Take notes during this episode, even if you're not interested in real estate, because I think what Tiffani talks about can be applied to many, many industries. So here's a little update about me in case you're interested. On Saturday, November 3rd, I'm going to be a nominee at the Ubuntu 30 Under 30 Awards in Newark, New Jersey. And my category is the Community Mogul category. So if you want to help me out, you want to vote for me, you want to learn more about them Cloud Kids and what they're doing with the Ubuntu Awards, go to themcloudkids.org/vote. And that's how you can vote for me. And I am in the Community Mogul category. I want to get as much votes as possible. I know I haven't really talked about it to a lot of people, so any help you can give me would be much appreciated. Few last things before we get into the episode. Please make sure you're following us on social and sharing as well. I love it when you guys are sharing episodes. They really, really help grow the community. We are Dreams and Drive across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And listen, if you want to get some gear, now is the time to get it as well. We still have t-shirts, crew neck sweatshirts, and hoodies available at dreamsanddrive.com/shop. All right, let's get to the episode. Hi, Tiffani. Welcome to this episode of Dreams and Drive. I'm so excited to have you on today.
Thank you so much. I'm excited to be here.
You know, it's funny, we were talking beforehand. It's like, I've been getting this thing where people who I've screenshotted, right, that I wanted to reach out to have reached out to me. So listen, this is another example of Tiffani reached out to me. We connected via Lori Swink, who was actually episode 20. I think she had a post saying, talk about your business. And then you saw my post and you're like, let's connect. So
right.
We made it happen, right?
Right.
So I like to start our interviews, really reflecting on who we were as children. I feel like that is such a pivotal moment in our lives and who we become as an adult. So if I had to say who was Tiffani the child, what was inspiring you back then?
Well, really back then as a child, I was really heavy into sports and I was really heavy into wanting to be in entertainment. So I was a comedian in class. I was a class clown. I wanted to be a model. That was my main goal. I wanted to be a model. I wanted to be on TV. But I mostly was inspired by my mom because I did grow up in a single parent household. And I saw her do a lot just by herself. And so that really inspired me to want to be a go-getter and want to do a lot once I was able to reach her age.
Is there a specific lesson that you can remember that your mother taught you at a young age?
At a very young age, my mom taught me about building generational wealth. And in a lot of single parent households, that's not taught. And so I learned at a very young age about buying homes and home ownership.
Really? Like, was she into that at that age? Like, was she doing that when you were growing up?
Yeah, so growing up, I remember her having two small houses. They were like really small, but I remember that she was buying them through the city, which is really ironic because I do that now. But she bought two small homes through the city, and she actually moved my grandmother out of her project housing. I think my grandmother had been in the project housing for like 20 years. And my mom, once she got old enough, she moved her into a home. I remember her going through real estate school, but she didn't finish. I do remember that. And so just from then on, I really just wanted to do what she was doing. And then my dad actually became a realtor. So I guess it's just kind of in my blood with the whole home ownership and things like that.
I am smiling right now because I think that is so, it's so ironic how sometimes we pick up on things, but when you were younger, that wasn't the dream, right? You wanted to be in entertainment, you wanted to be a model, and you even pursued that in some regards, but it's funny how things come back full circle. Now, I just have to ask you a question. What kind of sports were you into as a kid? Because I was into track and field, but I was never any good. So like, were you like gifted in sports as well? So going into college, you decided to study information technology, right?
Right. Well, I actually started out in nursing. Okay. And it didn't work out.
But wait. You wanted to be a model in entertainment, and then you went to nursing, into nursing?
Yes, because my mom and dad were like really, I was always a good student. And they were really gung-ho on, hey, you need to have a backup plan.
That makes sense.
So they really wanted me to get my degree. And I remember I just kind of gravitated towards nursing because I took care of my grandmother for a while. So I kind of just gravitated there. But I actually, while I was in the nursing program, I started working as a patient care technician at a hospital. And that's when I learned that this was not for me because I do not like blood. I couldn't do it. And so I remember a coworker of mine saying, hey, you're so good at computers and you're showing everybody about computers. Why don't you go change your major? And I was like, what? And so I did. And I just have been involved in computers ever since. I do computer programming. And so I just have moved on to there ever since.
That's so interesting because let's talk about how you, although I know you had those early dreams of wanting to be a model, but you kind of did pursue that for a while too, right? So how did that come into play along your timeline?
Well, modeling, once I was 18, I started in high school a little bit and I did a commercial in high school. But once I became 18 and I was like out on my own, I really started to do glamour modeling, which was swimsuit modeling. I quickly learned that it does not pay. That's when I moved into acting. And I started to really focus on my craft with acting. And I really wanted to do a lot of shows. And I really wanted to be in a lot of movies. I did do one independent film in Pittsburgh. But over time, I think once I had kids, it just became hard for me to be able to travel for auditions because I was in Birmingham, Alabama. We don't have those there. So I would like drive every weekend to Atlanta. And so once I got married the first time and I had my kids, it just became really hard to keep up with traveling with small toddlers and things like that. So I really just said, I'll just take a step back. And that's when I started my business.
So how did it feel making that decision? Did you feel like you were losing something that you really wanted, or were you looking forward towards the next opportunity?
I really did. Just to be honest, I really did feel as though I was losing that part of me with the modeling and being able to go to these auditions and do this and that. But what ended up as me looking at something that I was losing ended up being a blessing, because in my business, I'm still able to do photo shoots when I want to have promo materials. I'm on camera. I teach on camera. So I'm still doing a lot of the things that I love.
Okay. So let's talk about the business. What was the business that you decided to invest in and launch?
So I started Encouraging Millions in 2012. At the time, I used another name. It was like some crazy name.
It's funny. Like everybody that like a lot of people that I talk to, like the first iteration of the business name is never what it is now, right?
Oh gosh,
I think it was Tiffany of Latched and Hooked when she first, like the first name of whatever her business was just crazy, and she was like, I don't know why I ever named it that.
Right. My first name was actually Pencil Skirt Mama.
That was what was you selling? Skirts and
No. I was actually teaching about career and finance.
Wait.
And so
okay, I could see, because you wear a pencil skirt to work.
Right.
Okay. It's a stretch. I see it though. I see it.
And I was like, this isn't gonna work. This is not working. That's when I decided I really took a step back for about a year, and I rebranded and I niched down my business. And I was like, okay, I'm teaching about career and I'm teaching about, your finances in your career. And I was like, but I don't want to be in corporate America forever. So I felt like I wasn't really teaching what I was passionate about. And I was passionate about finding homes and flipping homes and renting out properties. And once I did a couple of homes and I got them under my belt, that's when I niched down my business. And I said, okay, I got a lot of questions about how I was doing it. And that's when I came up with Encouraging Millions. And really that name came to me in a dream. It's probably still not the best name that I should have used, but I use it because that is my goal, is to encourage millions to be able to build generational wealth.
No, I like that name because there's so many ways that you can think about it, right? Like you can encourage millions, meaning dollar amounts, right? Like encourage people to make millions, encourage millions of people, encourage that millions near mindset, right? I feel like that's a great name.
I love it. When it came to me in a dream, I was like, okay, I don't know why I just woke up with this name on my mind, but I'm going to go ahead and get it.
Sometimes I feel like we really have to listen to that voice, right? Like sometimes your intuition just tells you, like, pursue this, see what comes of it. Has there ever been any other points along your journey where listening to your inner self really helped guide you?
Yeah. I would say for the most part, listening to, like, trusting my first instinct was something that I'm just like gonna be real. I had to go through lots of counseling to start to do that, because I personally would go and ask other individuals, what do you think I should do? What do you think I should do about this? What do you think about this? And when you really think about it, we spend so much time asking other people's opinion who don't really have the knowledge about what we're trying to do. And so I really had to get to a place where I had to trust myself and trust the moves that I was making.
That, oh my God, you saying that really brings something to me, because that's something that I know I struggle with, right? It's like seeking validation from other people. And I mentioned this on the show a lot, but like I grew up in a Caribbean household, mother and father, very Caribbean in the sense that, it's all about honor thy parents, make sure you're doing what we want you to do. And at some point you realize like you're living your life for other people, right? Like if every move I'm making, I'm trying to get mommy and daddy's approval as a grown woman, how can I ever live my own life? So that's something that I'm personally making sure that I'm trusting my own instinct and my own ability to navigate my life. Because listen, I always tell myself, I think I read this quote, like, would you want the life that the person who's giving you the advice has, right?
Right.
And it's like, if you look at the people, it's like, do I really want that life? Are they qualified to give me that advice? That's something I think a lot of us can really take into account, right?
Right.
So let's talk a little bit about what Encourage Millions does. Like what was the business model? How are you going to start letting it, how was the business going to start creating revenue and profit for you?
So Encourage Millions is a real estate education investing firm. So basically, I teach other individuals how to begin investing in real estate. So this isn't for someone that has been doing real estate for years. This is for the individual that wants to start right now. They may not have a lot of money. They may not have the best credit score, but they know that they want to get to that point where they have home ownership or build generational wealth. So when I really started looking at my business model and how I wanted it to go, I knew that I enjoyed being on camera and I knew that I enjoyed teaching. So I offer a lot of, not a lot, but I offer an online course. And the way that I model my business is that I offer a intro course, and I offer an academy, and then in the end, I offer like a membership program. Mm-hmm. And so right now, which is ironic, I'm in the middle of launching my first cycle of Flip Your Block Academy. So once I really laid out how I wanted my business to generate revenue, was I knew that I wanted to do that through online courses, because I knew that a lot of individuals go to school and they get all this education, but they don't really learn what they need to like real life experiences. Yep. So yeah, that's something that I pride myself on doing. So I don't just sit at the computer and teach. I drive around. I go to the different houses. I show exactly what you need to know so that you can go out and start today.
So how did you get people to know about you? How did you start marketing and getting your first clients?
So I really grew my business a lot through Instagram. I really started to look at all of the different platforms that I was using, and I honed down on one platform, and I started to do a lot of live streaming. And I know that a lot of people shy away from that, but that is how I was able to gain an audience, because once you're providing value, more people are going to listen to you. I would provide value. I would give them free tips or free ways that they can begin investing today. And I would also offer a lot of free trainings.
All right. So then from the live streams, you were then pushing them to some kind of offer and then getting them on your mailing list. Was that kind of like the funnel? Okay. Right. Okay. And did you feel like during this time, like what were some of the challenges that you were experiencing? Because we all know when launching something, it is not always an easy blast off, right?
Right. And this launch has been very challenging. I've dealt with a lot of personal issues. And also, when you're going through a launch, one thing that I've learned is that I try not to think about my end goal. Of course, I have a money goal in mind. I have a revenue goal of what I would like to hit, but I try not to think of that. I really try to sit down and make sure that I was providing value, because I didn't want this academy to be another one of those high-priced ticket courses where you don't really learn. I can say a challenge for me has been dealing with the personal issues and still having to show up. Because even though I had personal issues, you still have to show up for your audience, because that's just like with any corporation or any company. Just because the CEO of the company is sick doesn't mean that the company is going to close its doors.
How were you able to not balance it, but like, was there something especially that helped you just stay sane during that time? Because I know, like, I listened to your podcast. I know you dealt with a very, like, I want to say nasty, because it sounds like it was very long, right? And it was just a lot of stuff that happened with the divorce. And I know that can be very, very stressful. Like, how did you end up being able to just stay afloat through all those difficult times then?
I really had to learn to, and I did this more recently, actually last week, because I lost someone close to me, one of my best friends. I learned that you have to really take a step away. And so because I've set my business up to where it could run without me, I took a couple of days. Now, of course, that hurts when you're doing live streams and things like that, but you have to make the time for your mental health, or you're not going to be of any use to anybody. So I would say definitely take those days that you need and learn that you don't have to get it all done at once. I mean, I know that I was recording videos for my academy, and the old me would try to record everything in a day and do this and do that. And one day I just woke up and I said, you know what? Just give yourself 2 to 3 things to do in a day. You don't have to do it all in one day. You don't have to stay up all night. I know we see people staying up to 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning.
Not me. I can't do that. I have never been that type of person. Mm-mm.
I stopped doing that a long time ago. And I also learned to, I wake up a little earlier and I sit out on the patio by myself with my tea, and I just have a moment to myself, because you just need that time to just really meditate and just reflect on the now instead of worrying about everything that's going on around you.
One of your Instagram videos, you had this really good metaphor of doing a SWOT analysis on your life. How has that helped you?
I would say doing a SWOT analysis on my life is probably why I've been able to be a little bit more successful in this business than I was with the modeling. So many times we are concerned so much with our competition that we don't really look at our strengths, our weaknesses. If people don't, know what a SWOT analysis is, that's just basically strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. And so I really looked at my life and I really learned, I knew my strengths. I knew what opportunities I could have, but I was very naive and I was very blind to my threats and my weaknesses. I was in denial. And so it really took me a while to really sit down and say, okay, this is a weakness of mine. This individual may be a threat to me. Once you really do that, you'll start to see individuals that you don't need to hang out with and individuals whose opinions shouldn't matter in anything that you have going on.
Could you give us an example of like a threat and then how dealing with that threat helped your business? I'm just interested. Well,
I can say that my marriage, which is sad to say, but when I really looked at over the past 5 years, my marriage was a threat in my life because it wasn't what we should have did. If per se, we got married really fast after 6 months, and we were just kind of like just living in the moment, young, just graduated college, and it wasn't what we should have did. And it was actually a threat to my business. I remember times that when I was first working on what I wanted my business to be, I got a lot of pushback from that individual about why I shouldn't do this and why I wasn't going to make money and why people weren't going to listen to me. And sometimes it could be individuals in your life that you love dearly. It could be parents. It could be, best friends. And at first I was like really angry and I'm like, this person isn't supporting me. But what I had to learn is that sometimes people project their fears onto you.
Yep.
And so I've even had that happen with parents, with my parents. Like when I first started with the buying homes, my mom was like, "Oh God, don't."
But she did it, right? You were inspired from her.
But some of hers didn't. Some of hers weren't successful.
Yeah.
So she was looking in her eyes. She was like trying to look out for me, and she's like, "Oh God, she's gonna make the same mistakes I did." But I just kind of, got advice from her where I needed it. Like from acquiring properties. And then I got advice from my dad on how to maintain and keep the properties, because like I said, she would find really good deals. And that's something that I learned from her. And my dad was actually a real estate broker and he has rental properties. So that's something that I learned from him. So I just kind of took that knowledge and just meshed it together.
So let's get into real estate 101 with Tiffany, right? I know you've been featured in your story about how you've been able to flip homes in your town of Birmingham, Alabama. So let's talk about it. Like, why real estate? Why do you think real estate is something that people aren't looking or aren't investing in, but really should consider?
I think that a lot of people don't invest, and just from what I've been hearing from my audience is that they think they need a lot of money and they don't have that money. Mm-hmm. So the reason why I gravitated to it was because I wanted to get out of debt. And what I started noticing was you could do different things in real estate and you can pay down debt fast, primarily with wholesaling. You can start investing and finding homes to wholesale, and you can use that money to pay down debt. That was important to me because at the time I had a lot of credit card debt from the divorce. I have a lot of student loans. So this wholesaling for me, which is what I do on the side, in addition to fixing and flipping, was a way that I could bring in money without having to put money out.
What is wholesaling? Because I'm thinking of like, were you buying a whole bunch of houses?
No. So wholesaling, I like to explain it as you're basically flipping contracts. So you basically find an individual, and I like to say that you're finding a solution for this individual. So this may be someone, that wants to sell their house, but their house needs a lot of repairs. So they can't just put it out on the market. They don't want to go through a realtor because they don't want to lose that money to the realtor's commission, like that. So they may have inherited the house and they need to get rid of the house. So basically, you will meet with this individual, you would look at the repairs, and you will basically get under contract with them. Well, what you do next is you will take your contract and you will assign your contract to another investor for a fee. And that fee is the money that you will make. So if you find a house and you get under contract with the seller for $40,000 and you assign it to an investor for $45,000, that $5,000 is what you're going to make.
So what do you mean when you say get under contract?
Right. So you just basically go to their home, speak to them, and you both agree on a price, and you write up a contract, and they sign, you sign, and you don't use any of your money. But the thing is, in your contract, you have to have that clause that gives you the right to assign the contract to someone else.
Okay, so when you say contract, you're basically meaning you're finding somebody who wants to buy the property?
Right. So you're finding a motivated seller and you're finding a motivated buyer. So you're like the middleman.
Okay, so you don't necessarily, like if you want to sell a house, you don't always have to go through a realtor.
No. You can sell. One of the way that I teach individuals in Flip Your Block Academy on how to find motivated sellers is you can go today to Zillow and you can look on Zillow in your area and you can filter down to look at just for sale by owner homes. Those individuals are motivated sellers, and you reach out to them. And you let them know that you would like to purchase their home, or that you have buyers that are interested in purchasing their home.
So then how do you find the people? Let's say you get under contract with somebody, right? Then how would you go and then find somebody who then wants to go under contract or whatever the terminology is? I'm trying to remember what you said. Like, how do you then find that person?
Yes, find your buyers.
Yes.
Okay, yes. So the way you find your cash buyers, I'll just give one trick that I know that you can do today. You can post a home that you have, or if you are under contract with this person, you will have to take pictures of the home. So you can post this home on Facebook Marketplace or Craigslist or biggerpockets.com is another site that I really like. You can post that home for sale. And the individuals that reach out to you, investors, you could even put in a title, investor special or something like that. Those are going to be people that invest, and those are going to be cash buyers. Now, even if you didn't have a home under contract, you can still do this same thing. You can post a picture of a distressed home on Facebook Marketplace. They may reach out to you and say, hey, I want to buy this home. Well, you can write them back and you can say, hey, I don't have this home available anymore, but can I add you to my buyers list? You can do the same thing on Bigger Pockets on the forum board. You can post, hey, I'm looking for cash buyers in this area, and they will reach out to you.
See, I've never, I'm so intrigued right now because this is not something that people talk about, right?
Exactly. They don't talk about it because, number one, realtors are definitely not going to talk to you about it because you're basically competition for them. Mm-hmm. So you're not going to hear a lot of realtors talking about wholesaling, but trust me when I tell you, there are a lot of individuals wholesaling, and even wholesaling. I haven't reached to the point where I'm doing like $100,000 a month, but I've seen individuals doing $200,000 a month because they built a business. Like when you drive around and you see those signs that says "We buy houses." Mm-hmm. Those individuals are building a business where they're getting 5 and 10 homes under contract in a month.
Oh, so it's not really a scam? Because I just see those. I'm like, oh my God, that's a scam.
No.
Oh, so they really do mean that.
Yeah, they really do. What they're saying is that, and this is what I teach people in my academy as well. We will make bandit signs. You make bandit signs, you put them out. It's not really a scam. What I say is always remain honest in what you're doing. So don't go out and put out a lot of bandit signs saying "We buy houses" if you know you don't have a good buyers list, because you're going to run the risk of not being able to stick to your end of the agreement with your seller. You want to make sure that you do have a solid buyers list before you even start putting out signs. So
did you have to make sure that you had a good, at least in the beginning when you were doing contracts, a good lawyer on your team as well?
Yeah. So what I did was the lawyers that I used when I closed on other homes that I had this particular lawyer look over the contract that I used. I went through several contracts before I landed on one simple one-page contract that I use in my academy as well that I give to them. But I had the lawyers look over it and let me know if everything was okay, make sure that assignment clause was in there, make sure that it was a clause in there that gave me the right to advertise the property online, like I'm saying, through Facebook Marketplace and Craigslist and things like that.
So the biggest attraction for the seller would be that they don't have to pay all the fees to the realtor if they were going through like a realtor in like the traditional sense of selling a home.
Right. And really, to be honest, the biggest attraction for them is that they don't have to do any repairs and they can sell the home in whatever condition it's in.
Oh, okay, right. Okay. But would they be making as much money as they could?
No, but because they have so many repairs like that, most people, when they're selling and they need their home sold fast, they don't even have the money to be able to do the repairs. Or most of the time it's distressed homes that you would possibly try to wholesale. And sometimes they've inherited the home from an older family member that died, or they're out of state and this house is just there. Also, I try to work with a lot of people that have tax liens. The home just has left their radar and they haven't been paying the property taxes on it. And the home is about to get sold to the state. So they want to get rid of it that way. Individuals that's about to foreclose, they want to get rid of their home ASAP. And just get it over with. Let's
talk about tax liens, because it's actually something else that I screenshotted right before this conversation. So I was looking at the Budgetnista. Do you follow her?
Yes.
I think she recently just posted that her husband, like they live in the city of Newark, New Jersey, and they went to their city hall and they purchased a home that had a tax lien on it. I think it was a distressed home. So I've been really interested in this. Can you explain to us how this type of real estate investing works?
Yes, and it is my favorite. I'm so happy you asked.
I was like, I'm about to go to City Hall tomorrow.
Yes, I actually have a class on it on my site, encouragemillions.com, because it is my favorite. In Birmingham, Alabama, which I love Alabama's tax deed laws, because they offer the opportunity to purchase online. And so that's why I love them. But this is how tax lien investing is how I actually looked up, and I bought a duplex for $700 last year.
Wait.
Yes.
Duplex?
I bought a duplex for $700. The outside looked horrible. Like the grass was grown up and it needs painting and it needs like some wood replaced on the porch and it needs a roof. And so I assumed, I really thought when I drove by, I found this house just driving past it. And I was like, I didn't know it was a duplex, first of all. I just knew that it was like distressed. And I remember seeing that it had 2 doors. And so I went home, I looked the house up on the tax assessor site for my county, and I saw that it was in a tax sale. One thing that I was able to do, because the home had been in a tax sale for over 5 years, I was able to counter offer on it. So the state wanted $6,000 and I countered for $700.
And you got it.
And I got it. And it's worth, after I fix it up, it's worth $80,000.
Wow. So what do you do? So you get the property, then what's next?
So in the state of Alabama, and the laws are different for each state.
Okay.
But in the state of Alabama, you are able to gain access to the property as soon as you have it, especially if it's abandoned. You could fix the property up and you can start renting it out. But the thing is, you will not be able to sell the property until you gain a clear title to the property. So to gain a clear title to the property costs about another $2,000 to $3,000. But in the state of Alabama, you don't have to do that. You could just rent it out. You can fix it up and rent it out. So that's my goal. That's what I plan on doing it. But I also plan on probably getting a clear title because I would probably get a loan against the property. So you can't get a loan against the property either until you have a title. So I will probably get a loan against the property to do the repairs. So I'm probably going to reach out to the original owner and see if he will just sign over the deed to me.
Okay, so I guess I'm a little confused. So when you buy something from a tax lien, you don't have the title to it?
No.
But wouldn't that be the goal? Because you couldn't do anything with the house then, right?
Well, you can rent it out.
Okay.
You just can't, and you can gain income that way. Or you could hold it. And you can also, this is another thing similar to wholesaling, which is what I do as well. You can also resell your tax lien to someone else.
Oh, so you could flip it.
Right.
Okay.
So like right now, because of the condition, I told you once this duplex is fixed up, it's worth about $80,000. But right now it's worth only about $14,000 because of the condition, of the home. But I could resell that to someone right now for about $8,000 to $10,000.
Then you make basically $8,000 back since you only paid. Okay.
Right.
That makes a lot of sense. All right. So as far as we have income streams for you, you have your online courses, you have wholesaling, you have investing in tax liens. What other types of possible revenue streams are there available for people when it comes to real estate?
Definitely fix and flip. So that is, like you see on HGTV, that's buying a home, fixing it up and selling it. I break it down like this. So I call wholesaling is your fast checks. That's like checks you get ASAP. I call fix and flips are your fat checks because you're able to really make a lot of money fixing and flipping. The thing is, it just requires more of your time. And I call rental properties, which is another income stream, are your forever checks, because that is the way that you can gain passive income and really, gain monthly income and cash flow that you can keep forever, that you can pass down to your kids. So those are different ways that you can make money within real estate. You can also become an agent if you really love real estate. You don't have to be an agent to invest. And that's something that I want to stress, because a lot of people feel as though that you should go out and get your license. You do not have to be a real estate agent to start investing. You can also manage projects. So if you go to my website, you'll see that I also worked in corporate America as a project manager. So I can also manage rehabs for individual. Like if they're out of state and I'm in the state that they're completing a rehab, I can offer a project management fee and manage their project for them.
Also, kind of it's like a consultant, right? Like I oversee everything and make sure. And that's very strategic for people who may not necessarily know everything, but I would trust you because it's like, oh, you've done this before and you know the ins and outs and you know how to make sure, no one's taking advantage of me. So it's interesting because I interviewed Jay Morrison on do you know who he is?
Yes.
Buyback. Yeah, I interviewed him. I want to say 100 episodes or so ago, a long time ago, right? I think it was last year. And, it was interesting speaking to him, but I still think he has a very male-centered aura, right? And he has a male-centered perspective. How do you think being a woman in the real estate industry is different, or is it? Do you find that it's different for you as a female?
Well, yeah, I think that a lot of times, I'm going to tell you the pros and the cons.
Okay.
The pros of me being a woman, and just being completely honest, more men, if they're motivated sellers, are going to want to talk to me before they talk to another man. I don't know if it's just that, they feel more, inclined to talk to a woman, or if they feel, kind of oh, they may feel sorry for it.
I get what you're saying, right? It's kind of it's funny because it's easier for me to start random conversations with a man versus going. I get what you're saying.
Right. And the cons is that a lot of men, from the fix and flip portion of real estate investing, they don't think you know, and don't get me wrong, because as women, we don't really know a lot. It's some women out there who know their stuff when it comes to rehabbing a home, but then there's some women who don't. But what I learned is that they think we don't know. And that was something that I had to deal with, because when I first had contractors coming out, they would try to give me these bogus prices and quotes. And I'm like, I know this stuff. My fiance he actually does contract work. So he's basically already giving me the scoop on what to look for if he's not around, how much things should cost. And so when the contractors will try to test the women in this industry because they think that we don't know what we're talking about when it comes to rehabs.
Let me add another layer to this. How has your experience been as a Black woman?
I have not really had any type of discriminatory issues. Mm-hmm. Now, I will say that once the meme went viral, I did have a lot of people saying that what I do is gentrification.
What? Okay.
Yes, I had a lot of people saying that because I like to find homes in the hood and fix them up, I am doing gentrification. And let me just clarify that, because if you don't know what gentrification is, gentrification is basically when someone of another race invests in the hood and they fix the house up and they jack up the rents. That's not what I do. So when I buy these homes in the hood, I keep the rent around what it would be for that area.
Okay.
I also do not believe in jacking up rent prices. Now, a lot of my fellow real estate investing colleagues will say, "Oh my God, that's crazy! You're supposed to increase your rents by this amount every year." But I don't do that because I am investing in low income neighborhoods. I do not believe in jacking up the rents. I believe in keeping it income based, even though I'm not Section 8. I believe in keeping it at an amount that a person can afford. I also got a lot of pushback on what I put in the houses that I renovate and my ideas for the houses. So a lot of people in the neighborhood where I was renovating would say, "Well, why are you putting stainless steel appliances in there? You shouldn't do that in this neighborhood." But I feel like I should, because I feel like just because they're in a low income neighborhood, why can't they have stainless steel appliances?
Right. And it's like, don't you want, and it's also, I would say, it's also investing in, like, you're not only invested in the community, but also people, right? Because if you have nicer things, you would hope that you would treat it nicer. And sometimes just going home and having a nice kitchen, having a nice hardwood floors or whatever it is, that can do something to the person and uplift them too in some ways. I mean, I may be stretching, but I know I like going somewhere and it's a really nice kitchen. You just feel different.
Right. And if you live in the hood, and anybody hearing this that's from the hood like I am, then you know that when you drive around, it's depressing. Mm-hmm. So I want to make it to where somebody comes home and they feel good. They, even though they're renting, they still feel good about what they're renting. They still feel as though, okay, I didn't have to go across town to pay $1,500 a month. I'm able to stay in this house that's nice and newly remodeled for $700 a month.
Do you feel like what you're doing is planting positive seeds in the community?
I think so, because I think that I think it motivates other individuals to get out and want to invest in their neighborhood as well. I think it motivates the individuals there that they don't have to, move across town to have nice things, that they can invest in their neighborhood and clean it up where they are.
That is so true. Like, I'm even thinking about, like, here in New Jersey, I don't know how, if you might know about New Jersey, but the thing is, especially where I live, like, which is the northern part of Jersey, what happens is that I see a lot of these, like, big agencies come in, right? They buy abandoned properties, they flip them, but then they create, like, low income housing. But then the problem is, for people who don't fit into, like, the income categories, then the market rate apartments are like 3 times the rent, right? It's like, how can I, as a young professional, I would love to still, live in this really newly renovated apartment, but I can't afford $3,000 a month for rent for a 1-bedroom. That's 500 square feet. It doesn't even make sense. But that's what's happening, especially in these northern cities, right? It's like, it's just sad sometimes, and people just get pushed out, or people have to, like, move further west. Like, a lot of people I know moving to Pennsylvania, having to leave their families and all this other stuff. So there are some people who are greedy in that perspective. So I love to hear that there are other ways that you can do this too.
Right, because that's something that I learned, like I spoke about individuals being threats in your life. I had some people that I tried to network with the real estate investing that were from out of state, and they were investing in Birmingham. And I started noticing that they didn't really care about their properties. So they would get them, and they would get loans on them, but they didn't even finish fixing the property up. They just got that money, and their property would sit in Birmingham with high grass, busted out windows, looking even more distressed, and they didn't care. And that's just not the type of investor that I wanted to be. And it's unfortunate that some people that do invest, their end goal is to only think about the money, and they don't think about the tenants.
Yeah. So do you do, like, screening when you're looking for tenants or looking for sellers of the properties?
Right. So I do when looking for tenants, I do use a system that does like a background check and a background check, and I look at their income and look at their credit report.
So talking about support then, like who's on your support team?
Definitely my mom and dad, my boyfriend, definitely. They are the three individuals that have helped me. My dad is my main support when it comes to thinking about properties and what I should do with the property. Should I hold it? Should I fix it up and flip it? But one thing, I do not ask anybody's okay before I get a property. I always get a property and then go to them next. I don't go to them and say, hey, should I get this property? I don't do that with a lot of people because you have a lot of competition. Some people would go snatch the property up before you're even able to get it. So, but they are my biggest support, especially my mom when it came to being able to, be a great grandmother and watch my two kids while I'm trying to rehab a home. I'm forever indebted to her for that.
So have you ever had like a bad investment though, or that just didn't turn out right and you lost money on it?
Well, I would say my first investment property, I lost close to $6,000 because I used a family friend that was a electrical contractor, but he was not licensed.
Okay.
So don't get me wrong. He did what he was supposed to do. But when it came time to get the power cut on, he could not get the permit because he wasn't licensed.
Oh.
Right. And so I basically had already paid him close to $4,000, and I had to go and pay someone else another $3,000 to come in and recheck all of the wiring and finish up some things before I could get power. So I lost quite a bit of money right there.
And what about business? Like, what are some business resources or people that you have really admired and really helped you along your own journey?
I would definitely say, I don't know if you know Nicole Walters.
Oh, yeah, she was a guest on the show. Year one.
Yes. I have worked with Nicole Walters actually one-on-one for the past year. If it was not for her expertise, especially with sales and strategies, I don't think my business would be where it is today. I loved working with her one-on-one. Some other individuals that I don't know personally, but I really look up to. I kind of, they're like my mentors in my head. Max Maxwell is a really great real estate investor. You can find him on YouTube, but he's like my wholesaling mentor in my head because he is one of those individuals pulling in hundreds of thousands of dollars a month in wholesaling. And that's a goal of mine to reach where he is. So he's also another individual that I really look up to. And that has been instrumental in helping me with my business.
What keeps you going when you feel like giving up?
I would say my kids. I want to leave them a legacy. I want to just leave them something behind. And so every time I get a property, I think of, them. I think of what would they want to do with this in the future. That's why my goal is to own over 20 properties in the next 3 years, because I want to be able to leave them something so that they don't have to worry about paying for college like I did, and they don't have to be in any debt. I just want to build a legacy so my children really keep me going. Do
you think they have like a little bit of that real estate bug in them, or are they still pretty small?
Well, they're only 3 and 4.
Okay,
So,
okay.
yeah, my daughter is already saying she wants to be an eye doctor. So, but my son, they'll probably do what's best. Of course, I'm going to teach them the ropes. So, but I'm going to leave it up to them. They can decide to keep the properties or they can decide to liquidate. So it's going to be up to them.
So do you think that you'll stay in the South, or like, do you see yourself becoming like, owning properties nationally as well?
I definitely want to own a property in each state if I could.
Okay.
I definitely would like to. I always say buy back the block. So I'm definitely on my way to owning the block that I have in Birmingham. So I think it's about maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe about 6 houses on that block, and right now I own 2 of them. So I'm in the process of trying to get the other 2. It's 2 more on that block that are abandoned that I would like to get. But I definitely want to be able to own a property in each state. Now, I don't know if I can do that in California and New York and
Listen, not even Jersey. Like, it's like, I might have to move if I want to buy something. It's just, I don't know. It's just so expensive up here. So expensive. Right. Even in the hood, literally, like it's really expensive up here. So, I've been doing this. I haven't asked a lot of our guests this, but I really want to start asking guests this question more. When you think of the word dream driver, like, what's that thing that comes to mind? If you want to be a dream driver, what does that mean to you?
To me, I think it means that you are ambitious enough to continue and consistently follow your dreams. I think so many times that we have these dreams and we kind of just fall off, and it's like in the back of our head, we probably, tell ourselves, oh, that imposter syndrome kicks in, and we tell ourselves that we can't do it. And so I think by being a dream driver, you're consistently making the choice to get up every day and do something that's working towards that dream.
Thank you, Tiffany. This has been such an awesome conversation. I have all these notes. You might start seeing me posting some Instagram posts like, I'll buy your house.
Right.
Let's get to our lightning round, right? So this part of the interview, I'm going to give you a prompt, and I want you to tell me the first word that comes to mind, okay? And we're sticking with our whole dreams and drive metaphor. So the first word is park.
The word what comes to mind is to think more.
Reverse.
To let the past go.
Neutral.
To enjoy the process.
All right. And I'm going to switch things up again right here. So instead of telling me the word that comes to mind when you hear the word drive, tell me about the moment in your life where you were like, you know what? I'm taking this baby from park to drive.
I would say going through the divorce, that was at the moment when I said it's time. They say divorce is like grieving a death. That's absolutely true. And it was really like during that time that really put some fire under me that said, okay, it's time to get up and move.
All right. And if you want to be a dream driver, you have to have your keys to success. So Tiffany, tell me 3 things that you think every dream driver needs in their toolkit before they hit the road.
I would definitely say a mentor, even if it's just somebody, like I said, that you're just watching on YouTube. Pick one person online. You don't have to follow everybody that's on Instagram, but definitely a mentor. You need somebody that you can learn from. I would say that you need savings. And even if you can't save a lot right now, at least be aware of your expenses and your income. And I would also say that you need to have goals. You need to have at least 3 top goals that you want to achieve for your business.
All right. I think those are all instrumental, and they're all things that we can start applying or trying to apply in our lives. Tiffany, this has been so much fun. Can you tell our dream drivers where they can find you online if they want to know more about your business or connect with you?
Sure. So you can catch me on Instagram at Encourage Millions. I'm also on Facebook at Encourage Millions. And our website is encouragemillions.com. And if you're interested in the academy, you can go to flipyourblock.com.
All right. Thank you so much, Tiffany. I'm about to start flipping my block, but maybe not really, because I don't think I could afford it yet. All right.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed it.
All right, so that's a wrap for episode 177 with Tiffani D'andria. I hope that you enjoyed hearing her dream driving journey as well as her keys to success. And listen, if you love what you heard on the show and you know somebody who'd be interested in learning about how they can grow their revenue stream, how they can build wealth, how they can leave a legacy, please share this episode with a friend. There are multiple ways to share it. You can text someone the link. You can tell your friends to go to dreamsanddrive.com. You can even, send them a screenshot. You can post it on social media, Instagram stories, Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, wherever. All I'm asking is that if you found this episode helpful, pass it on to somebody, pay it forward. Knowledge is power, and a lot of us are seeking knowledge, especially specialized knowledge. And there was so much specialized knowledge that Tiffany shared on today's show. Make sure you're following us too. We are Dreams and Drive across the board on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, and you can use the hashtag Dreams and Drive as well. If you're not already getting our weekly newsletter, The Keys, you can sign up at dreamsanddrive.com/join. If you want to be part of our Facebook community, our Dream Driver Mastermind, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/Facebook, or you can just search Dream Driver Mastermind the next time you're logged on. A few updates. So I am still looking for sponsors for the show. So if you are a small business, a brand, or an organization that is interested in getting your message in front of the Dreams and Drive audience, just hit me up. You can just send me an email at raina@dreamsanddrive.com, and we can talk about ways that we can partner. Also, if you are a creator, a videographer, photographer, makeup artist, any creative, realm, and you want to pitch ways that we can work together, I am always open to collaborations as well. So please, please, please hit me up. Guys, this entrepreneurial journey, as I mentioned a few episodes back in the episode where I talked about how I quit my job, this entrepreneurial journey, full-time entrepreneurial journey, has definitely been very, very interesting. So stay tuned. I think I'm going to do a series or something that will talk about this journey a bit more. And really, I hope that it just helps others who may be along this journey realize that, it's not always as easy, but it's okay if you're struggling. It's okay if you're doubting yourself. It's okay if you feel like you don't have it all together. That's something that I just want people to know, because I know right now, I won't say I'm struggling, but I'm definitely in this period where I'm like, what am I doing? Did I make the right choice and all this stuff? So stay tuned for some interesting content that will definitely be coming soon. Thank you to Ann Watt, who left a review this past week. She said, great podcast, and left a 5-star rating. If you want to get your review read on the next episode of Dreams and Drive, make sure that you are going to iTunes, leaving a rating, leaving a review. It really helps us grow in rankings. It really helps us get new subscribers, new listeners. So I appreciate it. If everyone who listened to this podcast, I know that's a big ask, but if you listen to this podcast, please leave a rating and review, especially if you're listening on iTunes. And just make sure you're subscribed wherever you're listening. If you're not subscribed, you may not get the notifications when we drop new episodes. Like last week's episode 176, that was all about what's in your trunk and this hilarious wig story that I told when I used to work. If you weren't subscribed, you wouldn't have known that dropped in the middle of the week. All right, so make sure you're subscribed. And guys, thanks so much for rocking with Dreams and Drive every week. I really do appreciate it. If you want to get a Dreams and Drive t-shirt, hoodie, or crew neck, just go to dreamsanddrive.com/shop. That's dreamsanddrive.com/shop. Keep dreaming, keep driving, and we'll chat again in episode 178. Bye, guys.